Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Austin Hayes, and I will be talking to you today about the evolution of laptops. Before we begin, does anyone know the first year that the laptop was created? By any chance? 1988. Close. A little bit off. Well, it's a little hard to determine which was the first portable laptop computer, since the earliest portable computers to arrive did not look anything like the book-sized folding laptops that we are familiar with today. However, they were both portable and could sit on a person's lap, and did eventually lead to the development of notebook-style laptops. The computer considered by most historians to be the first true portable computer was the IBM 5100, which is the top one. Anyone want to guess how much it weighed?
50 pounds.
It's actually correct. It weighing approximately 50 pounds and size slightly larger than the IBM typewriter. The 5100 portable computer was announced in September of 1975.
Wow.
The portable computer was intended to put computer capabilities at the fingertips of engineers, analysts, and other problem solvers. If the size and weight of the 5100 seems huge by today's standards, then the portable computer was very slender compared to the late 1960s IBM computer with the equivalent capability. Such a machine would have been nearly as large as 2 desks and would have weighed about half a ton. John Allenby was known as the godfather of the laptops because he and his company Grid Systems released the first clamshell portable laptop in 1982, the Grid Compass, which is the bottom one, which actually remotely looks like a laptop. And over 30 years later, the idea of opening and closing a laptop still stands as the standard design among laptops. Now, can anyone guess the price of the Grid Compass?
$1,200. $5,000.
No. A little bit less than 9,000. It was $8,150, which is equivalent to $20,000 in today's money for a laptop. So, what is a laptop? A laptop computer, sometimes called a notebook computer by manufacturers, is a battery or AC-powered personal computer, generally smaller than a briefcase. Maybe not back then, it was a little bit bigger than a briefcase. But since then, we've came down in design. Can be easily transported and conveniently used in temporary places such as airplanes and libraries, temporary offices, and at meetings. A laptop typically weighs less than 5 pounds and is 3 inches or less in thickness. Among the best known makers of laptop computers are IBM, Apple, Compaq, Dell, and Toshiba. Laptop computers are generally cost more than desktop computers with the same capabilities because they are more difficult to design and manufacture. Now let's take a look at a video about the history of laptops.
At one time, a full-fledged computer that could fit into a single room was viewed as a pipe dream. But a similar concept to the contemporary laptop was envisioned all the way back in 1968 by computer scientist Alan Kay when he conceived of the Dynabook, a gadget that bore a passing resemblance to a modern e-reader, but was, perhaps surprisingly, intended as an educational tool for kids. Now, the Dynabook was never manufactured, but portable computing didn't take long to become a reality. Arguably, the first ever portable computer for the general public, the IBM 5100, hit the market in 1975. And yes, this is an actual photo of the 5100. It essentially looked like an entire old school desktop computer, except with a tiny 5-inch display capable of displaying a whopping 1,024 characters. Wow! At 53 pounds 84 kilograms, it wasn't exactly backpack friendly, though to its credit, it did come with a carrying case. But it was hailed as an engineering marvel at the time, because packing all those components into one somewhat portable box hadn't been done before. And it could be yours for the low, low price of only $9,000, equivalent to about $41,000 today. Subsequent portables, the term laptop would be coined later, continued the tiny CRT in a heavy case trend. At its launch in 1981, the Osborne 1 weighed 24.5 pounds and cost a much more reasonable $1,800. So then, it wasn't until 1983 that we saw the first laptop that somewhat resembled what we're used to today. The $8,000 Grid Compass, which featured a flat electroluminescent display instead of a CRT, helping to reduce the weight to less than 11 pounds. At the time, its 320 by 240 pixel display was praised for being nice and sharp, and it even came with 384 kilobytes of bubble memory, an early form of solid-state storage. Fun fact, it's rumored that the Grid Compass served as part of the US president's nuclear football at some point. But continent-destroying capabilities aside, the Compass had a huge weakness in that it wasn't compatible with the widely used IBM PC. Though, it didn't take too long for laptop manufacturers to catch on, starting in 1985 with the K-Pro 2000, which came with a surprisingly handsome aluminum shell, followed by the IBM PC convertible the next year. Falling prices and at least passable portability meant that laptops quickly became popular among business users toward the late 1980s, and in 1988, the world was introduced to the NEC Ultralight, weighing just over 4 pounds, boasting a thickness of only 1.4 inches, which would actually put it in the same ballpark as some modern machines. Indeed, the Ultralight is often credited with being the first laptop in the world to be called a notebook due to its compact size. However, the Ultralight was still criticized for being relatively light on features, and we didn't see a major shift in the lightweight laptop industry until Apple rolled out the original PowerBook 100, which included their System 7 graphical OS, as well as a built-in trackball. Another fun fact, while it's nearly impossible to find trackballs on laptops today, the PowerBook 100 was credited with popularizing the concept of a built-in pointing device, and Apple would continue this leadership when they introduced the first built-in touchpad on a later PowerBook in 1994. The next year, 1995, saw the release of Windows 95, which was a big deal for laptop technology. Windows 95 was able to standardize many elements of laptop design thanks to its ability to talk to the laptop's BIOS more directly to handle functions like power management, obviating the need for the wide variety of BIOSes and drivers that were necessary on older devices, making manufacturing simpler and increasing interoperability. Another feature that's now ubiquitous on laptops, built-in Wi-Fi, first appeared in 1999 on the Apple iBook, which was even more well known for its interesting design. Subsequent laptops incrementally added features that we're used to today, like 8.
Okay, so to conclude the video, early laptops were not very portable, and they were bulky. And did not have much computing power. As the years rolled into the 90s, the laptops started to become what they are today. The first laptop, in my opinion, that could actually be deemed a portable laptop would be the NEC Ultralight, which came in at only 4 pounds, and it was relatively small. With its compact design and affordable price, screen resolutions and processing power became more powerful as they were starting to become very useful to the average person. The summer of 1995 was a significant turning point in the history of notebook computing. In August of that year, Microsoft introduced Windows 95. It was the first time that Microsoft had implemented the advanced power management specification with control in the operating system. Prior to this point, each brand used custom BIOS and drivers to optimize the battery life of its machine. This move by Microsoft was controversial in the eyes of notebook designers because it greatly reduced their ability to innovate. However, it did serve the role in simplifying and stabilizing certain aspects of the notebook design. As technology improved during the 1990s, the usefulness and popularity of laptops increased. Correspondingly, prices went down. Several developments specific to laptops were quickly implemented, improving usability and performance. Among them were improved battery technology. The heavy lead-acid batteries were replaced with lighter, more efficient technology. First, nickel cadmium, then nickel metal hydride, and then lithium-ion battery and lithium polymer. Manufacturers started making processors that consume less power. They improved the LCD technology. Early laptop screens were black and white, blue and white, or grayscale. STN, super twist pneumatic, passive matrix LCDs were prone to heavy shadows, ghosting, and blurry movement. Some portable computer screens were sharper monochrome plasma displays, but these drew too much current to be powered by batteries. Color STN screens were used for some time, although their viewing quality was poor. By about 1991, two new LCD technologies hit the mainstream market in a big way: dual STN and TFT. The dual STN screens solved many of the viewing problems of STN at a very affordable price, and the TFT screens offered excellent viewing quality, although initially at a steep price. DSTN continued to offer a significant cost advantage over TFT until the mid-90s, before the cost delta dropped to the point that DSTN was no longer used in notebooks. Improvements in production technology meant displays became larger, sharper, had higher native resolutions, faster response time, and could display color with great accuracy, making them an acceptable substitute for traditional CRT monitor. Improved storage technology. Early laptops and portables had only floppy disk drives, as thin, high-capacity hard drives with higher reliability and shock resistance and lower power consumptions became available. Users could store their work on laptop computers and take it with them. The 3.5-inch hard drive was created initially as a response to the needs of notebook designers that needed smaller, lower power consumption products. With continuing pressure to shrink the notebook size even farther, the 2.5-inch hard drive was introduced. Going into the early 2000s, laptops were the smartphones of today's world. The prices for laptops started to fall more and more. People started to stray from the desktops and go for the portability of laptops. But at this time, laptops still weren't up to the specs of desktops. In May of 2005, laptops jumped to 53.6% of PC retail market. Now let's look at the history of Apple laptops.
Apple has always developed laptops for the professional market since the early 90s, but this leaves many consumers out. How does Apple make up for it? They start selling laptops which are aimed at the same market of people who would purchase the iMac. Introduced in January 1999, the iBook was introduced into the market as the iMac to go. For a low-end machine, it had a design like no other laptop had before, such as a handle to carry the laptop, as well as the colors of the iMac. It also allowed you to have an optional AirPort card, one of the best Apple laptops to do so at the time. It was almost $1,000 cheaper than the lowest costing PowerBook, which actually appealed to many customers. The first gen iBooks gave you a choice of either colors blueberry or tangerine. In September 2000, Apple saw the iBook being upgraded to feature 3 new colors: indigo, key lime, and graphite. It was also one of the first Apple laptops to introduce FireWire into the product line, and it also had a special edition model which came with a DVD-ROM drive. In 2001, the iBook's design was completely changed, as it brought the design of the PowerBook G4 to the consumer level and included a faster G3 processor, VGA out, stereo speakers, and a high-resolution screen. Users had the choice between a 12 or 14-inch model, and these iBooks came pre-installed with both OS 9 and OS 10. In 2004, the iBook G4 was released, which had many new features such as AirPort Extreme, Bluetooth, DDR RAM, and a slot-loading optical drive, while having a very similar design to its predecessors. Just like the iBook G3, you still had the choice between a 12.1 or 14.1 inch laptop. One other fact is that while OS 9 support was discontinued, you can still run it in the classic environment. In 2006, the PowerPC to Intel switch marked the end of the iBooks, which were replaced by the 13-inch MacBooks, which came in either black or white. 2 features unique with the MacBook is that it has a magnetic latching system without moving parts, unlike the predecessor iBooks and PowerBooks, as well as a redesigned keyboard and mini DPI support. The first MacBooks only had an Intel Core dual processor and came with Mac OS 10.4.6 Tiger. By late 2006, the MacBook had an Intel Core 2 dual processor and allowed for 64-bit support.
The beginning of 2008 saw the introduction of the MacBook Air. It was a high-end ultra-portable system. However, it was slower than other Macs at the time. It had non-upgradable RAM, a smaller hard drive, and no built-in FireWire or Ethernet. Nevertheless, it still came with a full-size keyboard and screen, and had various accessories, such as an external super drive, a USB to Ethernet adapter, and various micro DPI adapters.
At the end of 2008, an aluminum unibody MacBook was released, which had many of the features of the 15-inch aluminum MacBook Pro, which was released at the same time. New features include DDR3 RAM, faster graphics, a multi-touch trackpad, and a backlit keyboard. While there was only one model of this MacBook, the 13-inch design ended up being the blueprint for the 13-inch MacBook Pros today. By the end of 2009, the white MacBooks had a redesign and now had a glass multi-touch trackpad, along with performing battery and the lack of FireWire or audio input. And by 2011, the MacBook was fully discontinued until 4 years later.
At the end of 2010, the MacBook Air had a redesign, which now had 2 USB ports, a bigger screen, and the trackpad was also redesigned with only one button for every gesture. Up to today, other improvements included the addition of Thunderbolt and a backlit keyboard, as well as the choice between an 11 and 13-inch model.
By 2015, Apple reintroduced the MacBook, which looked very different to its predecessors. This MacBook is surprisingly thinner than the MacBook Air and weighs less too. It features an HD Retina display, a Force Touch trackpad, and USB Type-C, which replaces USB, mini display out, and the charging port altogether. So this was the evolution of Apple's consumer laptops.
Alright, so in the video it talks about how Apple laptops first appealed to customers because of how it was $1,000 cheaper than its competitors. I don't know about you all, but when I think of Apple, I don't think of cheap compared to its competitors. A lot, if not all, people wonder why Apple uses different chargers than standard micro USB. One reason is Apple has insisted on using proprietary connectors, is because connectors have the ability to do more than just charge and sync. For example, the iPod Out feature, which extends the iPod functionality to compatible devices using Apple's own user interface, is possible thanks to Apple's new 30-pin Lightning connector. The same port can also output the iPhone, iPod, or iPad display to an HDMI television through an adapter. Gaming laptops are the mobile equivalent of gaming desktops and are usually more expensive than their desktop counterparts. Currently, most gaming laptops feature more power-efficient versions of high-end desktop graphics card, which nevertheless still significantly drain the battery and necessitate more advanced systems. Modern desktops in a class-to-class comparison do not feature upgradable graphics cards. Due to the relatively small size that the hardware has to fit into, cooling the heat-intensive components is a major problem affecting the performance of such laptops, usually causing degraded value for money performance-wise. Attempts at using the same performance hardware as desktops usually ends in the decreased clock frequency of graphic chips to reduce heat, causing poor value for money. In recent years, gaming laptops have improved and manufacturers have been able to put desktop-grade graphics card in laptops and able to keep the systems cool. These laptops come with a hefty price tag on them, and most of them are heavy and bulky. But it's still pretty cool that you can game mobilely and be able to play AAA titles with decent graphic settings. Moving into the modern laptops, today's laptops are becoming more and more advanced, but are being replaced with smartphones. Manufacturers can now pack very powerful computers in spaces pencil thin, and less powerful ones don't even need fans to run and be cooled. The screens have been upgraded to LCD screens with LED light sources, with resolutions typically at 1080p but can go up to 4K. A big factor in making laptops thinner is making the storage devices thinner. 2.5-inch hard drives were the standard for a long time, but they limit how thin you can make a laptop. The newest innovation is the M.2 storage, which is a solid-state storage that looks kind of like a RAID module. And that is the end of my presentation.